right, so now we've got a page of word problems. This will be good practice for our quiz too, won't it? Here we go. Number one, number two, I guess. The box problem. So let's see what we remember from our box building day. We have a paper that is 13 by 9. You're going to cut the corners out, and the corners are X's. You're going to write an equation. You're going to tell me the domain, and then you're going to actually use your calculator to find the volume. Okay? So here we go. Anybody want to take a stab at the equation? V equals volume equals length times width times height. Now, if you put that down, I'm not going to give you credit for that. That's the idea, but you got to do it for this problem. So what is my length, width, and height for this problem?
13 plus 2x.
What?
13 plus 2x.
Not 13 plus 2x. 13 minus 2x. Remember, you didn't add the corners on, you took them off. So 13 minus 2x then, 9 minus 2x then, x. There you go. There's your equation. It will always be this minus 2x, that minus 2x times x, every time. Now, what's your domain? Now, this is where you tell me what x is between. What two numbers is x between?
0.
0, always 0. You can't be negative, so x has to be bigger than 0. And what's the other one? 4.5. And we talked about
Go
this.
tag.
How did we get the 4.5? Half the smallest dimension. The smallest dimension is 9. Half of 9 is 4.5. That never changes. Now, you got to go to your calculator, and you're actually going to find the maximum volume. So the first thing we do is make sure our window matches this. So x min, 0. X max, 4.5. Y min, 0. Now, what do you want to put in for Y max? 1,000? Ooh, that's pretty big, but we'll go with 1,000. Now put in your equation. Put in this equation, parentheses, 13 minus 2x. Yeah, it may be too, that may be too big.
Yeah, that's...
Is that too big?
Wait, no, like 1,000, no.
Well, you could make that work, but I'm going to change it to 500 because I like to see more of the hill.
What do you set
Oh, 500 is still pretty low, isn't it? I may go with 200. Oh, 200 looks nice. Now, notice there is no exact answer for Y max. So when you say to me, what do you set it as? I'm not answering that question because I can't. Pick a number, graph it, and what should you see? A hill. If you do not see the top of the hill, then you got to make it bigger. If the hill is flat, like mine was with 1,000, I made it smaller.
What do you set your Y or your X max to?
Look, honey, it's right here. This is your minimum X, that's your maximum X. Now, how do we find our maximum? We second calc, pick maximum, do your left bound, right bound stuff. And your maximum point, okay, so I got this picture, and my maximum point is 1.74, comma 91.44.
Yes.
Now, wait a minute, before you start celebrating, you got to put an answer in this blank. And you don't put both of those numbers in this blank. Which one of those goes in the blank if we want maximum volume? 91. because that's what we let the Y be when we typed it in on our calculator. Y was the volume. What does this 1.74 represent? That's the size of the corners that you would cut out. If I said make the biggest box you can, you would measure and cut out 1.74 squares. Number 3 is on your quiz on Tuesday. Find the final cost of your new uniform pants. If the price tag says $33.50, there's a 15% discount and a 7% tax. What do you put in for the 15% discount? 0.85. Why 0.85? 1 minus 0.15? And then what do we put? Yeah, it's 30, it's a typo. 33.5. And there's a 7% tax? 1.07. So now I'll type it all in. That is a quiz question on Tuesday. Anybody have a question about where either one of those numbers came from, or any of those numbers came from? I got $30.47 is what I would pay. How much here's your other quiz question. How much 45% cocoa should be mixed with 32 ounces of 75% cocoa to get cocoa that is 58%? All right, so amount times percent plus amount times percent equals amount times percent. I am not sitting next to you when you take the test. You have to be able to fill in these numbers all by yourself. So, Trey, what's going in for these percentages? You see that they're right there in the problem, so you have to fill them in. What goes in here? 45%, which is going to be 0.45. And then what goes here? 0.75. And here we'll go 0.58. Perfect. Nobody misses that. Ken, the other number in the problem is 32. Where's it go? Here. And it goes there because the problem clearly says you got 32 ounces of this kind. You cannot miss that. How much? Now, this is the tricky one because sometimes the blank is here and sometimes the blank is here. If the blank is here, it's 32 plus X. If the blank is here, it would be 32 minus X. All right, so 0.45X plus 24 1856 plus 0.58X. All right. So I've got X equal to 5.44 divided by 0.13, which is about 41.85 ounces. quiz question. Obviously test question too. Now, last year the team won 19 games. This year they won 24 games. What is the percent of increase? Who remembers how we do this? It's what? Difference over original. Perfect. So, what is the difference? What is the difference? 5. What was the original? 19. So we'll just do that division and that will be the answer to the question. 5 divided by 19, about 26.3% increase. They won 26% more games this year than they did last year. Your test will have 4 word problems on it. A box, a mixture, a percent increase or decrease, and how much is the final cost after taxes and all that stuff. Just like here. That's your test. Your quiz is just the mixture and the final cost problem. All right, here we go with the rest of the test then. We only have one more page. Let's see if we can get it done. Number 7, find a direct algebraic relationship if x equals 4 plus t and y equals 2t minus 3. We have not done one of these in a long time. Does anybody remember what you do? Get t alone. So I think it's easier, Ellie, to get t alone in the top equation. X minus 4 equals t if I subtract 4 from both sides. If you have forgotten how to do this, you better pay attention. Now, once we have t alone, all right, now what?
Plug it in.
You can plug it in. That's the easiest option, I think. Not the only option, but you can plug it in right here. So what will this equation say if I plug this in right here? Y equals 2 times x minus 4 minus 3. So y equals 2x minus 8 minus 3. Or y equals 2x minus 11. Okay? Now, number 7. Are these inverses? Why or why not? Does anybody remember how to do this? What do you remember? Well, it's really easy. Pick a number, not 1 and not 0. Pick some kind of randomish number. 6. All right, let's pick 6. I'm going to put 6 into this function, okay? I'm putting 6 into the function. What do I get if I put 6 in here? I get 8. Now I'm going to step over here and I'm going to put that 8 into this one. If they are inverses, what will happen? No, it will give me back my 6. So if 6 changed into 8 here, then 8 better change into 6 here. Well, does it? If you put in 8, what do you get? I think you get 8. Are they inverses? No. Why not? Because you didn't get out the number you were supposed to. You were supposed to get out 6, and instead you got 8. If they're inverses, if you put in 10 and get 4, then when you put 4 into the other one, you should get your 10 back. That's what it means to be inverses. If 10 went to 4, then 4's got to go to 10. That's what it means to be inverses. So the answer to this question is no, they are not inverses, because when I put in 6, I got 8, but when I put in 8, I did not get 6. All right, number 8. Find the inverse. Okay, do you remember the steps to this? Here's the first problem. There it is, there's the first problem. Do you remember what you do? Oh, we're in trouble, folks. We change our variables. And then we get y by itself. So 4x equals negative 2y plus 9. 4x minus 9 equals negative 2y. And y equals 4x minus 9 over negative 2. Now do you remember it?
Yeah.
This is one of the harder ones. We did lots of examples and you even took a little group quiz over this. Remember?
Yep.
So here we go. First thing starts the same. We're going to change our variables. Now, Alex Witt, you remember what we do next once we get our variables changed in one of these harder problems? Do you remember what we do? Well, I switched my x's and y's.
And
So
then
that's
you,
it.
yeah, but you solve for y.
I'm going to solve for y. So what will I have to do that?
Unless you, break it down.
I bring this guy over to here to eliminate the fraction. So I'm going to have this.
I can do.
That's what I'm going to have. I bring the denominator over to here so I don't have a fraction anymore. Bryn, you remember what you do next? Now I'm not ready to divide yet. If I divided, I'd be right back to here. Where I need to distribute my x. And then here comes the most important step. What do we do now that we've got it distributed? All the y's go to the same side. So I rearrange things so that all the y's are on the same side of the equation. Now who remembers what happens? Pull out the y's. So I'll have 2x minus 3 equal to negative 4x minus 5. Now, Bryn, I'll divide. And there is my inverse. Now, we spent a lot of time in class doing a lot of examples of that. So you better go back and review if you don't remember. Number 9. Come on, stay with me so you have less homework to do. X equals t squared, y equals 5 plus t over 3. Do not make this hard. They're telling you t is negative 1. What do you think you're supposed to do?
Put in negative 1.
Put in negative 1, and when you do, you get a point. because you're gonna get an x value, which will be what if you put in negative 1?
4, 3,
What's negative 1 squared?
1.
1. And then you put negative 1 in here, and you get 5 plus negative 1 over 3. 5 plus negative 1 is 4/3. There's your answer. That is not hard. Now we have a 4-part problem. The first thing I want you to do with this guy is write on the paper, I want you to label all the points. So that one's 0, 0. This one is 2, 1. Label the points right on your paper, 3, 0. Negative 1, negative 1. Negative 2, negative 1. Negative 3, negative 2. And negative 4, 0. Alright, so I've got all my points labeled. Now it says sketch the inverse. Remember what you do to these ordered pairs when you sketch the inverse? You flip them. So 0, 0 is going to stay the same. But 2, 1 is going to become 1, 2. And 3, 0 is going to become 0, 3. So now your triangle, instead of sitting on X, is now sitting on Y, because you switch the variables. Negative 1 stays the same. This becomes negative 1, negative 2. Then negative 2, negative 3. And 0, negative 4. That is a picture of the inverse. Now, if you study, that is simple because all you do is switch the ordered pairs. Plot the switch. Connect the dots. That's your inverse. Question B. Is the original a function? Is that a function?
Yes.
Yes. Why? It passes the vertical line test. Is this a function?
No.
No, because it does not pass the vertical line test. So C is no. It doesn't pass the vertical line test. D. So is this a one-to-one function? No, because to be one-to-one, both of them have to be functions. 1 to 1. No x's repeat, no y's repeat. 1 to 1. So the answer to D is no, because the inverse isn't a function. To be 1 to 1, they both have to be functions. Got it? And then number 11, this is wild and wacky. I'm a trickster. I gave you a figure 1 and I gave you a figure 2, and I said, now tell me what the equation is. So in other words, you know how I do that stuff like y equals 2f of negative x plus 3, that kind of stuff? You're going to come up with that now, okay? So let's make a list of what has happened in the picture. Now, it's a little bit hard to see. I'll do a better job on your test, I promise. But the axis is on the original. This is figure 1. This is the axis. In figure 2, the axis is between like this, okay? That's the axis, the y-axis. So, can you tell me what has happened between figure 1 and figure 2? What changes did we make? We flipped it how? We flipped it,
And sideways.
oh my gosh. I'll make a list. We flipped sideways. Does that make sense to everybody? But we also flipped it upside down.
Negative,
Did we make any other changes? Would that take care of it?
yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna write our equation. Here's my f of x. Now, what do I need to put in there that would flip sideways?
Negative.
That would be here. And flip upside down would be here.
Yep.
And there it is. There's your equation.
Jeez.
Okay? Everybody all right with that? All right, well, you did a good job. We got through it. So now all we have to do is get through 2 and 3. And we'll be ready for our test